back here on the Blue and Gold Report. Hope your week is going well. Nice interview and good look at women's basketball a moment ago, but we turn our attention now to a kind of a spring sport that starts out in the winter with Hall of Fame head coach Trevor Kronemann, who was really probably been more influential, I would think, than any individual in the UC Irvine men's tennis program over the last 3 decades. A 4-time All-American, a terrific pro. He's in his 6th season as the head coach of the Anteaters. 4 years in a row, they've either outright won the Big West Conference title or shared a part of it. The last 2 years winning it outright, going to the NCAA tournament. And it had been a while for the Anteaters since they'd done that. Trevor, congratulations on the success, and I know you, what was that? That's yesterday's song. It's about today. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you say 3 decades, and I sit here and I shake my head, and it's just been such a quick ride, and how quickly things go. I mean, back when I was in school, I never thought that I'd say I did something for 20 years, let alone 30, and now that I think about it, geez, 80s, 90s, and now past the 2010s, and here we go. So it's just as exciting as it is now as it was when I came to school here back in 1987, and I just love being around here and watching the success of the programs and the young coaches around the hallway, and really enjoy being here every day.
Trevor, you care so much about the sport. You care so much about your program. You did that when you were up at Cal Poly as their head coach for 5 years. That is something just ingrained in you. You don't have to work at it. Some people have to work at it, remind themselves of that. I never sense that you do.
Well, it's one of those things. Some people go to work. I go to work, but I have fun every day. I mean, to me, it's not work. Right. I mean, I coach a lot of 10 and under young girls that went out to the sectional championships this weekend and finished second to a team they had lost to early in the year, and they got better. They almost beat them this time. And so every day for me, if I'm around the tennis courts, it's the greatest day. And I love being outside and love being associated with the game of tennis. So it's just easy.
Well, I knew it was tennis season today when I walked outside and it was pouring rain, because what is the start of the men's tennis season without a rain at our tail?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been here 5 years going on 6. We've always started, the first day of a match has always been a rain. Yeah. So we're right on par.
You are. Now, you got UCLA, as we tape the show on Monday, UCLA today meeting Tuesday, number 5 in the country, and you're not ducking anybody. You really are running the gauntlet early in the year, and I think that's because you trust your program and you want to measure yourself against the very best.
Yeah, we've tried to build the program as we don't duck anybody. I mean, if we could put the top 25 teams on the schedule, that's how the schedule would look. UCLA, we lost to 4-3 last year and had a chance to beat them, and I think going into this match tomorrow, it's as close to a first round of an NCAA tournament as you can get in a first day match. So I think they're going to come out and ready for us, and my guys they're ready to go. So we're excited about it.
Last year, the team probably had the best season they've had since you were here, and went to the NCAA tournament, beat some top 15 teams, came close against a couple of top 10 teams. How you doing for an encore? You lost some very good players, but there are a lot of good returning talent.
Yeah, I mean, the honest answer to that question is the sky's the limit. I mean, if the guys believe in what they're doing, and we've been lucky enough to win 2 in a row, what does it take to win 3 in a row? Nothing more than what it took to win 2 in a row. Right. I've tried to explain to them that they have the talent in the room. We can't worry about what's come and what's gone, and let's just look at each day as a growing experience towards Palm Springs in the end. That has and will continue to always be our way into the NCAAs is Palm Springs. So what do I have to do between now and then? It's get them prepared for those 3 days in the desert, right, where they need to be firing on all cylinders. And I look at each match as a stepping stone, as a paintbrush stroke on a canvas of, okay, there's 1 gone and 2, and we're just trying to get to this picture at the end that allows us to walk across the fields of Palm Springs as the champions again. I have that in my mind already. I can already see what it looks like, and hopefully the guys are starting to see that vision come a little bit clearer. We're going to take our lumps and bruises here early on.
Sure.
We don't see an unranked program until I think now it's going to be mid-March, maybe the 1st of March. UCSB upset BYU 2 days ago. They're ranked 36 in the country, so that would have been our only unranked team that we play, and they're very tough, and they've gotten a lot better. So it's going to be a rough year, but something that we can handle. If we keep our heads on straight every single match, we're going to get better.
There are a lot of tennis programs. You're ranked 42nd in the country, so I believe you're going to upset some of these teams here and grow in that process. And You start with a young man. I've had the pleasure, thanks to you, of visiting our show and talking with Fabian Matthews. He kind of anchors his team. Ryan Chung had a great freshman year. Talk about their growth, where they fit in the picture for the 2012 Antietam men's tennis program.
Well, you know, we start this as a process of wanting them to be more mature, wanting them to be better young men, and wanting them to leave our program better players. I think in all three of those areas, Fabian Matthews, he's matured. He now looks at the game a little bit differently than he might have as a freshman, as you hope all of them do, and grow in the experience. And I look for good things from Fabian. I mean, I think he has a chance. I've always thought that he has a chance to be nationally ranked and maybe go on and play professionally, if he can, you know, shore up some loose ends of his, you know, some certain things on the court that he can do a little bit better. And he's paid attention to those things. And I think some people are going to be surprised on what they can and can't do against Fabian that they used to be able to do this year. So there's been a lot of maturity there. Ryan Chung, a ton of maturity from his freshman year to his sophomore year. I mean, the kid is still trying to figure things out and really where he wants to go with the game and be. I think, you know, those two guys can be All-Americans. I mean, that's how good I think they are. Now they just have to believe that.
Well, Trevor, they're ranked number 7 in the Southwest region in doubles. So that's quite a formidable, and actually really can be you break a tiebreaker and get you a win in a match. So it's kind of comforting to have them there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that as a doubles team, they play well together. They gel really well together. I think all three of our doubles teams, we work hard at that side of the game, and we feel like if programs are going to give us the doubles point and go into singles, that we'll take it. I mean, we only have to win 50% of those singles matches if we have the doubles point in hand, whereas the other way we have to win almost 70%. So
that's
you're going to
huge.
give it to me, we're going to take it. And so we really spend a lot of time there where most programs have just brushed by. And you know, I think you're gonna see a solid effort from everybody. I think it's going to take a total team effort this year. And there'll be, as I told them last week, there'll be one guy who stands out in one match, and the next match is going to be another guy. I mean, it kind of moves around.
We're visiting with UC Irvine legend Trevor Kronemann. In his 6 years, the head coach of the men's tennis program, and it's an awfully good one. I encourage you to go to their website. Give them the website address.
www.ucirvinesports.com.
And go to the men's tennis program. Check out the schedule. Come out and support this great young program. You know, you've been kind enough now for 3-4 years consecutively to come on the Blue and Gold early in the year. And each year there's been a gem, sometimes several, in the freshman class. I'm sure there's a couple this year we should keep our eye on. Give us a couple names and guys that could mix and match and figure in big time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't say this lightly, but I think the future of UC Irvine tennis is here. We have 3 guys, Mica Decoster, Jacob Chung, and Shuhei Shibihara. 2 of those 3 guys, in Jacob Chung and Mica Decoster, have made the semifinals or better of the Junior Orange Bowl, which is one of the biggest junior tennis events in the world, as 12 and 14-year-olds. Mica Decoster comes from a background, his father is the Roger Federer of motocross racing. You mentioned motocross racing, and Roger Decoster would be at the top 3 of anybody's list if you know that sport.
Right.
So he comes from a champion. He knows what it takes. I think mom was a gymnast, and might even, I don't know if she was a gymnast in the Olympics or not, but she was a gymnast and a high-level gymnast. And so
the genes are there.
Yeah, so he knows what it takes to win. He's fighting through some injuries. And a little bit of self-doubt coming through injuries and not quite getting big wins from 16s and 18s, but he can play, and so we look for big things from him if he can stay healthy. And Jacob, same thing. I think these 3 guys on the team this year kind of lost their way. People didn't really believe in them, and that's what I'm here to do, is tell them, look, we believe in you, and we think you're the future of the program, and you're going to get a lot of playing time this year. Good. As freshmen. You're going to get thrown to the wolves, and let's see what happens. And you have to believe in yourself. Don't let anybody else tell you, how it's going to unfold or what should happen. It's up to you guys.
Are Jacob and Ryan Chung related?
They're not.
Okay.
They're not. It's Jacob Chung and Ryan Chung.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. I missed that. Yeah. Well, again, with the 3 freshmen coming in, a holdover of players, the future's bright. How does the conference look? Santa Barbara obviously would be a team you've got your sights set on, and I'm sure everybody's gunning for you. I mean, there's a bullseye on your back, right? Sure,
and that's right where we want to be. I mean, we kind of want to be the underdog, and there is. I mean, the bullseye is growing every year, which is fine. We're gonna continue to do the same things we did to win the first 2, to try to win the third one, and we'll probably do the same thing to try to win. Hopefully a fourth one, if not a third one. UCSB is tough. I mean, they got a lot better. They won the 5 times before we were lucky enough to win the last 2 times. So it's been UCSB or UC Irvine the last 8 years.
Right.
So I think hopefully you're gonna see that matchup in the final. That's what I envision. 3 months from now, 4 months from now is a UCSB UC Irvine matchup for the conference championship.
Do you get them in the regular season up there or here?
Yeah, we play them here pretty
Good.
quickly. I believe. I don't know. Not looking that far ahead, but I believe the date's February 18th over that President's Day weekend. We play them on the Monday.
Right. That's when people need to come out.
It'll be
support
it'll be a pretty big match.
Yeah.
We played them early on in a fall event, and they got the better of us, but we lost a couple 3-setters, and so it's going to be a good match. And
You're a younger team than them, and so hey, let them get you in the fall, and the guys learn, make the adjustments and everything, coach, and go from there. Speaking of that, we're so blessed to have you here as the head coach, and I truly mean that. And that's from Mike Izzy all the way down to the person that carries out the trash in athletics. We know what you do. We know what you do, and appreciate your attitude and your skill. But it's only part of your life. You're the head coach of World Team Tennis, and you coach pros, and it just shows the influence and that you're all over the place when it comes in the world of tennis. Just give us a peek of what that program is like, and and coaching much more mature players, and how you go about that contrasted to the collegiate level.
Yeah, I mean, really the only parallel that I can draw is just a little bit stronger belief at the pro level that, they know what they're doing, they know how to stretch, they know what things to do.
Right.
And it's just little tweaks here and there. You might see something from the bench that you're so involved with the match that you don't really see when you're out there on the court. And it's really the only parallel that I see. They might be a little bit more consistent. They're a little bit more seasoned. They've played a lot more matches.
Sure.
But the 2 parallels, that I would say that's probably the only thing, and they're probably a little bit tougher mentally. But world team tennis, and drawing parallels between world team tennis and tennis and college tennis and junior tennis, let me out there. I mean, they're all really about the same. I love being out there with all different aspects of the game. I mean, I love seeing on Wednesday nights we have a group of kids that come out to the courts, and they come running around the corner, these little cute 8, 9, 10-year-olds, and Coach Kronemann, let's get going, and we're excited about being here. So you have that aspect,
Sure.
and then you have the aspect of sometimes with the guys, some days are pretty tough getting them motivated and get them going, and then you get the pro side where they're motivated, and then just tell them what to do and they'll do it. So they're all 3 kind of intertwined, and they're exciting. All 3 of them are exciting to be around, and I'm just lucky enough to be on the ride with each and every one of them.
And you can probably look back and go, I was one of those little guys.
I was.
Not that long ago. Or at least we like to think that way. You were ranked as 19th in the world in singles ATP, which is phenomenal, and top 5, if not better, in doubles at one time. So you have a real perspective from the kids all the way to the pros. I always have to ask you a comment or two about the pro game. Who do you feel is the #1 men's player in the world right now? Federer, Nadal, Djokovic?
I think it's closer than it has been in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I think we got another young wave coming behind. I really thought Bernard Tomic had a chance to do really well at the Australian Open, and he did very well.
Right.
He just ran into Federer.
Right.
So I think those top 3 guys, Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, continue to raise the bar. It gets raised, almost monthly. Those guys are changing their diets, doing something different, trying to make themselves better. And I think for, maybe for the next couple of years, it's probably still those 3.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that, I think there'll be a good wave come along. Once again, being the underdog, somebody asked me who I thought for the Australian Open. I said, I'll take the field. You can have Roger Federer. So I don't know. I mean, I like to believe that I like seeing, especially if I'm watching a sport, turnover, seeing different guys winning championships. So I think we've gotten to that level again in tennis, and it's creating some excitement because you can get behind different guys. Does it ever go back to, when people hated McEnroe and loved Borg, and some people who loved Borg hated Lindell, and some people who loved Lindell hated McEnroe, and Connors, and all these guys? I mean, we were so lucky to live through a generation like that. And I think what people got to be careful of is it may not come along again for a while. I mean, I think that we were lucky to live it for 15 years of just the most glorious time in tennis.
It was the golden age. It was absolutely unbelievable, and you loved how NBC covered it with Enberg and Collins and those guys. I mean, it was part of Americana. Do you? And one final question about the pros. They talk in baseball, they talk in football, basketball about different eras, and it's difficult to compare. But how do you think? I think the best player ever I thought was Rod Laver. Up until now, maybe Federer, and of course, there's 10 other guys that are a part of that equation. You're going to put Sampras in it. You go back to Pancho Gonzalez for that matter. How do you feel a Laver? Maybe a Borg would do in this era, given the equipment, the change of equipment. I mean, they were playing with different rackets. They say that makes a difference, Trevor. Only you know. I wouldn't.
Sure. Well, I mean, I think it would make a huge difference if a Borg had the equipment that we have today. If he had the training in sports psychology from a guy like Dr. Parham or Jerry Lynch up in Santa Cruz. It would change if you had guys lifting weights and knowing the things we know. I marvel every year at how well McEnroe looked like a teenager last year in World Team Tennis. I mean, he looked like he's 18. In a 2 out of 3 set match, could he play a couple weeks a year on the tour? Yeah, probably. But it's the wear and tear and it's the grind of every day being ready to go. So I think that's changed. Sure, the equipment's changed, but I think if you can play with a wooden tennis racket, you can play with just about anything. But unfortunately, we all get older and the feet don't work quite as well as they used to, and things leave us, and the new generation comes along, and I think we're set up properly for that in tennis, and I can only hope that USA will be back on top again at some point.
I think it will, with young coaches like yourself, really engaging young people, getting them involved with that. Tennis has such a great tradition, going back to Bill Tilden, Margaret Court, and for 80, 90, 100 years, it's a sport of kings and queens and all that sort of thing. Finally, to finish up with UC Irvine, as you look at the program, you started it 5 years ago, and it was certainly not at its apex. Are you pleased with the 5-year program and where you've got it now, and then looking ahead to the next 5 years, where do you want to take it?
Well, if you're comparing me to Spira, no, we're not in a 5-year satisfied with where I'm at. I mean, I want to win a national championship. I mean, there's no question. I wanted it to happen yesterday. I want it to happen this year. Am I pleased with the process? There's always work to be done. We can always get better. Even if we win it, we're going to have to get better the next year. That's what's kind of dynamic about this being a coach, is you never really get a chance to rest. You're always into the next recruiting season. You're always into the next year's schedule. Mm-hmm. You're always dealing with people's emotions and people's understanding of what you're trying to teach them, and so it constantly moves. I mean, there's not a dull day. We're kind of like the stock market, up one day, down the next. You just don't know, and so that's what makes it exciting.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it. Nothing boring.
Well, as we last talked a year ago, you said, I'm bringing in, and I'm certainly not offending, some very, very good tennis players you've had here. We're recruiting at a higher level. You're on the mark with that?
Yeah, just announced yesterday we'll be the 14th best recruiting class in the country coming up for fall 2012.
That's terrific.
I just told the SID as we left to come over here. Like I said, we have 6 new guys coming in, with the 4 that are going to get a lot of playing time this year. I feel kind of like I did when Fabian, Ryan, and that group came along.
Sure.
Okay, we had some bumps and bruises. We lost some of those guys. I think it's just a natural process. I feel like I did then. This year, with some unfortunate circumstances, I felt like we had a top 10 team. It's kind of backed off a little bit due to some guys graduating early, a guy turning pro, and so those things happen. But back in the saddle and ready for those guys to be a top 14 team, to be a top 10 team, back to Pepperdine, SC, UCLA, Irvine, back in the heyday. So that's what drives me every day, is to get it back to that point. So as you can see, 42 isn't exactly that point. But
no, but
there's work to be done.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
Trevor, we have some great coaches here, none better than you, and I really
so.
appreciate you coming here. I could go. We're running out of time. I could keep going, and there's so much to talk about. Good luck. I'll be out to see you this year, and hopefully the weather gods are good tomorrow, and you can upset UCLA.
They're gonna be. We'll work on it.
All right. Thanks.
All right.
Trevor Kronemann, our guest, back with Barry Faulkner and the UC Irvine Roundtable on this edition of the Blue and Gold Report on your home of Anteater Athletics, KUCI.